We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Our panelists were completely fooled with that first group. Let's meet our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
Number 2.
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
Number 3.
My name is Evelyn Moriarty.
It's up to our panel to locate the real Evelyn Moriarty, and here's her story. I, Evelyn Moriarty, was Marilyn Monroe's stand-in. I doubled for Marilyn on the movies Let's Make Love, The Misfits, and her last film, which she never finished, Something's Got to Give. Marilyn was a warm, sweet human being, and generous to a fault. In fact, I'd have to guard myself about admiring anything she was wearing. She'd either give it to me or get me a duplicate. On one occasion, I almost lost my hair trying to bleach it the same color as Marilyn's. I also had a frightening experience in The Misfits when I had to double for Marilyn driving a car. Only too soon did everyone realize I didn't know how to drive. By the way, you may notice that each of us has a mole on our face, but each mole is in a different place. That's because Marilyn's mole was fake, and she used to move it around. Marilyn's sense of humor was always with her. She once made up her own epitaph to read 372235 R.I.P. And it's signed Evelyn Moriarty. Ladies, we're delighted to have you here. We're going to begin the questioning with a Marilyn Monroe fan, Orson Bean.
Indeed, I am, Alex. Yeah, I once read Marilyn described as the Venus de Milo sculptured in angel cake. Number 1, was she as lovely in person as she appeared to be in the films?
Absolutely, yes, she was.
Number 3, you knew her right up to the end, like when she was working on that last picture, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I hear she was very good in that, in the bits of it that they still have.
She was wonderful.
Now, number 2, would you describe her as an unhappy person, or more as much as the public thinks, or what?
No, she was a very happy person.
Was she? Number 1, now that generosity, did she show that to everyone she worked with, or did she have a special relationship with you?
Well, we did have a special relationship.
I can imagine standing in for her all the time.
All right, Betty.
Number 2, how was she around the horses in The Misfits?
She was almost thrown from the horse she rode.
And number 1, what was her reaction to the horses in The Misfits?
She was afraid of them, yes.
Number 2, how was her relationship with Clark Gable in The Misfits?
She was in awe of Clark Gable.
Thank you.
Richard?
Number 1, what are you doing after the show? No, number 1, now come on, be serious now. Who's in The Misfits besides Clark Gable?
Eli Wallach.
Number 2, what kind of car was it that you drove in this?
A station wagon.
What make?
I don't remember.
Number 3, what year was it made, Something's Got to Give?
1962.
1962.
So much for lonely Richard Mull's questioning, trying to line up a date for after the program. Kitty, over to you.
Number 1, do you believe that the stories that she committed suicide in the end?
Yes, I do.
Number 3, who was she married to at the time of her death?
She wasn't married.
And number 2, who was she married to during The Misfits?
Arthur Miller.
Number 1, how was her relationship with Arthur
I'm
Miller?
Sorry, Kitty, we have to interrupt you. There's the signal. It's time now, panelists, to vote for who you think is the real Ms. Moriarty. Is it number 1, number 2, or number 3? Orson, we're going to start with you.
Well, I don't know. I figured I voted for number 2 because I think her mole is in the best place, and she probably had first choice.
I see. Good a reason as any. Betty?
Well, I always remembered that Marilyn was never as tall or as big as, well, big she was, but not as tall as she, we all thought. So I think maybe I'm going to go for number 2 for that reason.
2 votes for number 2 so far. Richard?
Well, I didn't vote for number 1 because I didn't get the feeling she really wanted to go out with me. And no, number 3, I don't know, when she was up on the stage, up there taking her introduction, it looked like she was trying to be somebody she wasn't. I could be wrong there. So I'm going to vote for number 2.
So far, it's unanimous. Will it be a sweep for number 2, Kitty?
Oh, dear. Yes, it will be. I think it's number 2 as well.
I see. All right, well, all of the votes are in. Number 1 had no votes, primarily because she wouldn't go out with Richard after the show. Number 2 picked up all of our panel's votes, and number 3 got no votes as well. Let's find out who Marilyn Monroe's stand-in really is. Will the real Evelyn Moriarty please stand up? It is number 2. Evelyn, you got all 4 votes, and that means the team will receive that $1,000 guarantee. We'll find out about the imposters in just a moment, but I'd like you to talk to us about some of the pictures we brought along. The first photo we have here is of someone on a horse. Is that you or Marilyn?
That's me, and that's the horse that Marilyn rode that almost threw her. Her makeup man, Whitey.
I see.
Saved her.
And our next photograph?
That's on the set, in the bar room up in the Reno, on the Misfits set, where she did the paddleboard.
What?
She was supposed to get a double for that, but she did it, I think, 165 times.
Now, you doubled for her in the automobile. Did you also double for her riding the horse? And are you a good horsewoman?
No.
No, not at all? All right, well, let's find out who our imposters are. Number 1, who are you and what do you do?
I'm Gigi St. John. I sell women's clothing at Casual Corner.
Well, we're happy to have you here today. And number 3, who are you? And tell me a little bit about yourself. Your name first.
I'm Norma Jean Jan.
Really, Norma Jean?
Really, Norma Jean. It's on my birth certificate. Norma Jean Jan, and I'm a clerical worker.
Well, it was great having you with us today. And again, a $1,000 guarantee for you. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll be back to play one-on-one with someone from our studio audience right after this.